Welcome everyone. And the big question today is, why can't we have Christmas the whole year around? I'm Amy Moonshadow, Chair of the Community Advocates Network. We are a provincial organization, a coalition of individuals who have experienced poverty, are allies who work for social justice in the non-for-profit organizations, and the folks on the streets. For folks that live in poverty, Christmas can be very busy in the weeks before and after December 25th. Charity is beckoning and promising goodwill to all. But reality sets in, and it's both the best of times and the worst of times. The panelists have first-hand experience with what happens on Boxing Day and in the new year, when resolutions for a better world don't come true. Wayne McNaughton will be the first speaker on the panel.
Hello everyone. I'm glad to see people turned out here this morning on what's a busy pre-holiday day. As Amy mentioned, this is the time of year when people are very busy, everyone's bustling around, getting all ready. I'm fortunate, very fortunate individual that I'm able to have a computer at home, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter and everything, and see all the stuff coming out, all of the activities that people are doing and everything. And I gotta be honest with you, it's kind of depressing at this time of the year for someone who's in the situation. I live on income assistance. At this point in the month, as at this point in any month, we're in the middle of the month, I have no money left. I'm not going to have any more money until after Christmas. I'm dependent on the charities as much as anyone is dependent on the charities. It's one of the reasons why I get out and help to raise funds for charities, is because of that, although it's not the only reason why I do it. The reality is that in this time where basically people are out there celebrating abundance, for those of us that don't share that abundance, it's also a reminder of how little we have. It also reminds us of how empty our fridge is, or how little we have to draw on. I can't even imagine what it's like for people with children and families. I hear the stories, and the stories tear me apart. But it's just, for a single person living alone, we face isolation all year round. When you're disabled and you're on income assistance and you're living in poverty, you are automatically isolated in any number of ways, because you can't participate in any of the activities that other people participate in. If you look around at all the different activities that are taking place around town, there are quite a few that are free. I say in brackets, free. Oh yeah, you can get in the door, but once you're there, you're going to have to spend some money. If you don't have any money to spend, what then? If you want to go down, I could go down to the radio room today, where they're doing Feed Nova Scotia's doing their big thing, and stand around outside there and think, well, this is wonderful, but I have no food to take down and donate to them, because I can't afford to basically feed myself. Never mind donate food to the food bank. Anything, I barely managed to avoid going to the food bank for help. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. That's the reality of living in poverty. There are social events that take place that, the ones that you really look forward to are the ones that are put on by certain charities and certain churches, where there is no cost involved, where you go in there and everything is taken care of. That's wonderful. Again, wonderful for 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas. Once Christmas is over, despite all of the traditional admonitions about, let's have joy and peace, joy for all and everything all year round, that never ever materializes. And realistically, it probably never will. So what do we come back to? We come back to, we need to have programs, government programs, to give people enough income to live with dignity, to share the wealth of society. It is not up to charities to share the wealth of society evenly. It's up to government to make sure that the wealth of society is shared evenly. And our governments continually abdicate that responsibility to charities, and it's a very that frustration just adds to my depression. I make it through the holidays every year. I don't look forward to the holidays. I do not look forward to this time of the year. I'm happy to wish other people a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I mean that. But it's a it's a time of year. You know what, for me, if people say, well, you know, it's only 10 days till Christmas Eve now. I'm saying it's only 12 days till it's all over with, thank God. So that's what happens when you live in poverty. It's not a happy time of the year. It's not a joyous time of the year. It's a time of the year you know, I think of the original Charlie Brown Christmas special. It's now about almost 50 years old. And it's like, I love one of the lines Charlie Brown says in there, you know, I know everybody hates me. Why do we have to have a Christmas season to put the accent on the fact? I don't think people hate people that hate me for living in poverty, but the isolation has kind of the same effect. So I really hope that everyone has a good holiday. I especially hope that everyone has a safe holiday. But it's a very, very difficult time of the year for many of us. And I especially hope that people are able to get through it and manage and not become too depressed or depressed to the point that they end up doing something regrettable. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll pass this over to Kendall Burke, who's going to be our next speaker.
Hello. I just want to say that what I pretty much have to say echoes Wayne McNaughton's comments, but sometimes, you know, the way I was brought up when I was younger, Christmas is supposed to be a joyous time of year, but for people living in poverty, it's not as joyous as for people who don't live in poverty. And the reason I say this is because people who do not live in poverty, they take the Christmas season for granted, and people who don't live in poverty are able to give like free handouts to their kids, as kids are supposed to receive toys at Christmas time. But a family who lives in poverty who has 2 kids, they can't afford to be out buying expensive toys for their kids, or any toys for that matter. They have to take hand-downs. We're lucky that we have the Christmas Daddies program, and for here with NHRM, we got the Christmas support program in that regard, which helps out a little bit, but even the help that you get from them does not cover what the Christmas expenses actually are for some people more than others. I am lucky to come from a loving family who treats me the way that I should be treated, especially when it comes to this time of year. I know lots of people who live in poverty who are not that fortunate to come from a family that they get along with so well. The thing is that Christmas, for the rich families, it's a time of year that eats up a portion of their money. But even like for middle class people, when it comes January, middle class people even sometimes worries about how they're going to pay bills. But for people living in poverty who have just barely enough to pay bills and maybe get a little extra food, when January comes, for some of those people living in poverty, they may not even be able to make their bills, at least without help anyway. So, as Wayne said, there does need to be government programs to help people. Why can't community services give those who are on assistance a one-time-a-year Christmas allowance to be issued every December? I don't know if this is true or not, what I'm about to say next, but I have heard from different people that if you live in the province of New Brunswick or the province of Ontario, the Department of Community Services in those provinces, they actually issue that allowance in the month of December to income assistance clients. But here in Nova Scotia, we got nothing like that. So I just wanted to say that because I've heard it from a couple of high-up resources who I have contacts with. I'm not going to say where I heard that from, so, because I don't want to make a false statement because you can't believe everything you hear. Anyway, I'll just end my speech by wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I say to those of us out there in this world who live in poverty, spend Christmas the best way you know how. Enjoy it the best way you know how. You don't have a lot of money, but this is supposed to be a happy time of year. And yes, some of you are isolated, like Wayne McNaughton just said. And I know what the isolation feeling is like because there are times during the run of the year that I feel that way myself. And I had recently written an article for the Media Co-op on social isolation and how people who live in poverty experience it. And but the thing is with me is I'm lucky enough to be able to be with my family when it comes Christmas time. But some people who live in poverty don't have that privilege because the reason is because certain people who live in poverty, their relationship with their families deteriorates. And what causes the deterioration of relationship? Their income level is what causes it. So, again, like, I encourage everyone to enjoy Christmas the best way you know how. And I'm going to leave my speech at that. So thank you very much for inviting me to be on this panel. Anne is the next panelist. I will now hand the mic over to her.
Hi, my name is Ann Duffy. I'm going to read my speech because I'm very nervous at speaking. So I'm going to read what I've written. I am Ann Duffy, a disabled person living in metropolitan regional housing. My wish for this time of year is that people will feel some hope, peace, and inner calm now. This is not easy for the impoverished at this festive season. There are several silver linings to my clouds. They go from Ward 5, St. Vincent de Paul, if they can help, Harper Street Food Bank, and other nonprofits in my circle that do in cooperation of the general public all they can to make life better. An acquaintance of mine sent me this note. What is Christmas? It's a feeling, warm and friendly, kind and true. It's a light that is rekindled when the world is born anew. Where is Christmas? All around us. Falling snowflakes, chiming bells, in that pleasures that surround us, and within our hearts as well. What is Christmas? It's forever. Just as long as man will show love and friendship and compassion, will the light of Christmas glow. And it's an anonymous poem she sent me. These thoughts can brighten anyone's day. The most important thing to remember is for the above sentiments to be true, the world needs to care more than monetarily. The most dire feeling this time of year, be it Christmas, New Year's, or any festival's time, is one of loneliness. There are anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 persons that are homeless or marginally homeless in our city of Halifax. Only for a higher power they would be lost. Jesus is the reason for the season, and for a lot, including me, he is my rock in a lonely place. As it says, if we have him, the world cannot hurt us. Another blessing at this time of year are the festive dinners and parties. They, believe it or not, help financially. For us on community services, these events help the grocery budget go further. This assistance can help some of us have a dinner of Christmas because turkeys can be an impossibility. For now and ever, we must make sure we have family, food, and fun. It's more important than anything. Good music can be a treat. Christmas carols can be uplifting. Joy to the world should be all year round. There is a song which is, Go Light the World. We should, as much as we can, light the world for all the people whose lives we touch. And I'd like to play the song for you now. All right, let me see if it's going to work.
Hopefully it'll be nice. Thank you. Hopefully it will stay because it's
I guess that's it. It's not playing as much as it should.
We've got the meaning of it.
Pardon?
Go light a candle and light up the world.
All right.
Amen.
Just hug or cheer on your neighborhood, community, and municipality. Treat people with courtesy and dignity. My hope and prayer is that we should be all we can be to our fellow man. We could all be and are just one paycheck, one disaster away from being where the less fortunate are. Please be nice to someone who is lonely and sad at this time of year. A smile, a great word can make all the difference in someone's world without you or me even realizing it. It costs nothing to be nice. May we be good to each other all year through. Keep safe, secure, happy, and hopeful during this festive season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. May you all have a glorious, beneficial 2013. Keep the less fortunate and everyone on your mind and in your heart. Be at peace and have hope. We are all in pretty good hands. Thank you.
Thank you to the speakers. And you heard, if we didn't have our sister Charity to help low-income folks in Nova Scotia, life might be as depressing and lonely as that first dark night when Christ was born. So now we'll open the floor to questions and answers. Anybody would like to speak directly?
I was going to say questions and answers, and also if anyone has any comments as well from the floor. Yes.
I just want to say thanks. You know, you were asked probably to do a hard thing, I think. And the three of you tried to accent the positive. You tried to talk about the importance of people being together and supporting one another, that we really need to celebrate Christmas, but remember that the work of Christmas is really after Christmas, to get you through the rest of the year. And that in spite of your own situations, that you're so caring about everyone. It's very touching. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
I usually wear my Stand Up and Speak Out Against Poverty t-shirt. I don't have it on today, but I want to make everybody aware that the government is abdicating the responsibility and pushing things back on the private sector and on charities and churches. And this has had a disastrous effect on people living in poverty. The federal government in particular has to stand up and share the responsibility, and it's only with all levels of government working together, federal, provincial and municipal, can we tackle this grave problem of poverty. And I'm glad you're here this morning. I'm glad the media is here this morning, because the people living in poverty need a voice. They need to speak up. And anyhow, that's pretty well my message.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Any questions from media representatives, President?
I do have questions, but I'd like to maybe talk to people people individually.
Sure.
As opposed to, because we have to take it on camera and stuff like that, so I asked a question now and re-asked it.
Any other questions or comments from the audience?
Well, I know some people, and I'm not going to list their names, who have gone to legal aid and they have looked for assistance with the legal students and lawyers that are supposed to be assigned to people that are low income. And the people that go there who are low income and ask for their assistance and their legal representation in certain matters are told, well, no, we don't handle that. No, we can't help you with that. And instead of you going in there and believing in the faith that you hold, that you're going to get somebody that cares and be your legal advocate and be your representative at a time of crisis within your life, who have been either evicted from a home and are being threatened to be evicted through a Christmas, or anybody who's being discriminated against because of employment issues, because of medical issues, or anything like that, have been totally disregarded and just brushed right off and sent on their way. They're still out on the streets, they're still with the low income, they don't have their rights addressed, they don't have anybody standing up for them, and it's time that the legal aid department started getting qualified representatives of the legal practice to stand up for the poor people and the low income who cannot afford the high-priced attorneys.
Thank you for that comment. Anyone else with any comments or questions? Okay. Well, I want to thank, on behalf of, for myself, I want to thank everyone for coming out today and attending this press conference. It's good to see this turnout. I was serious when I said earlier, it's like really busy time. There's so many different things going on. There's different things I know going on today, and to see you all here is definitely makes it worthwhile for those of us who had to get up and speak and everything. It's good to have somebody to speak to other than just, a bunch of empty chairs. So, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'll repeat my question. Why can't we have Christmas the whole year around? It's, good policy is not that difficult.
It costs more to keep people in poverty than to end poverty. That's